Welcome! This is Records Roundup number 73, no less. And as usual, I've got loads to show you, including an album on a format that I don't think I've shown on a Records Roundup video in a long time. We'll get on to that later on. First, I want to show you a couple of pickups from eBay, both from separate sellers, and both filling holes in my farm collection. First one here is one of the few remaining 7-inch singles that I needed, and this is from I think 1990, Stepping Stone, and double A side is Family of Man, which was a track on the album Spartacus. Not an awful lot to say about it. Stepping Stone is a cover version. A lot of people have recorded it, most famously the Monkees. The Sex Pistols did a version also, and it's rather embarrassing that I remember, but Ant and Dec did a cover a few years after this. So it's one of those ubiquitous kind of 1960s pop songs that a lot of varied and diverse acts like to cover. Family of Man's a pretty good track without it being absolutely exceptional. There's the 7-inch single there. This cost me, there's a price sticker on it for £3.95. It did cost me a little bit more. It was £5, I believe. Was it free postage though? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. That is Stepping Stone, Family of Man. Also off eBay was something that I knew was out there. I knew it existed, but for some reason I was just concentrating too much on the farm singles before I looked at this. And there was a lot of people selling this, and the price was reasonable. I think this one here, I made a best offer, including postage, probably about £12 all in. And it is the Farm's compilation album, Pastures Old and New. So I think this came out in 1986 on Fire Records. It's never had a reissue. I would have preferred a newer edition, but it doesn't exist, so that's my tough shit. It's weird how it came out prior to the Farm actually ever released in a proper studio album, but they just never got a proper record deal to release a full studio album until the 1990s and Spartacus. But this one features their old singles, some of which I've shown you because I've collected them, and I'll be showing you another one very shortly, and radio sessions and stuff like that from the 1980s. As I say, it is an original pressing. Quick look at the centre label, but not an awful lot really to speak of here. It goes in the Farm collection. Glad that I got round to looking for this, and there was plenty to choose from. I think I got one that is in, I would say, very good plus condition, and hopefully it'll play well as well. Pastures Old and New. Right, we do stick with the Farm one more time, but we move on to Vinyl on the Net. Great website. I've mentioned this place quite a few times in Record Roundup videos and in New Order collection videos as well. John, who runs the site, is a lovely fella. I urge you to give him a go. Find some hidden treasures there at vinylonthenet is the URL that you need. And this was a Farm single that he had, and I've been thinking about picking it up. I don't know why I didn't pick it up when I got Spartacus from him, to be honest, but better late than never. This one is Steps of Emotion. Another 7-inch, in fact I think the only other 7-inch single from the Farm that I need now is another one from kind of this 1980s, before they were really famous era. But I've looked on Discogs and there's only one seller selling it, and he's in Germany, and I don't want to pay the extra postage and stuff. The actual price of the single he's charging isn't too bad, but it's just all the extra fees lumped on it. Anyway, Steps of Emotion is side A and Memories is side B, and it's an unusual single this, as both tracks were actually originally recorded for Radio 1 sessions. Steps of Emotion for Janice Long and Memories for John Peel. Little look at the vinyl here, but that's quite a nice centre label actually. Wasn't expecting it to be quite so bold and attractive, that. Lovely stuff. So that is Steps of Emotion.
Closing my eyes and what do I see? I only see you, do you see me? Steps of emotion, 1, 2, 3. Steps of emotion are hurting me. I can't really get you out of my mind. Don't you see, baby, you're so unkind. But I like you and you like me. So what's the problem? I can't really see.
Sticking with vinyl on the net, when I placed my most recent order, there was something for my new order collection that, if I've got my timeline worked out in my head, I think I've already shown you on the channel now. I've certainly already filmed that video. I'm doubting myself. But I also got the Farm single and 2 more items. Another 7-inch first. This is Punker by Kenickie. I had this on CD. I think it was the reissue CD single that I had, as the cover of it was markedly different, and there is like a reissue variant on Discogs that's also in 7-inch form, but this is the original 1996 7-inch single. Kenickie were like a pop punk, a power pop band, 4-piece from Sunderland, who had a few kind of, I would say, bigger than minor, but not quite major hits. They were kind of scraping a top 20 once or twice, I think. Or they might not, actually. They might not have reached that high. But anyway, a great song. I loved the CD single that I had. So happy to get this back into my collection on vinyl. Side A is Punker, and side B is a track called Cowboy. Lovely centre label there. Kenickie, probably their biggest claim to fame these days is that their lead singer was Lauren Laverne, who went on to be quite a prominent radio and television presenter in this country. So yeah, a great track this. Arguably, I think their biggest single. There might have been another one that maybe did almost as well, I'm not sure. But this was like £1.50 from vinyl on the net. It was kind of impulsive in a way, but I know I like the song. I used to have the CD. So thought, for that price, I'm going to put it in my basket. 3 albums from the same band. They're a band who I've got their first 2 albums on mini disc, and then I've got 2 later albums on vinyl. And I wanted to fill some holes, and I decided now would be a good time, especially when I saw that this album, John at Vinyl on the Net had it. Can't remember what he was charging for this. I want to say £14, but I might be getting that slightly wrong. It was around that area. For a 2 LP set, pre-owned, but that's fine. This is something that, yeah, it's available fairly easily on the aftermarket, but a lot of it is international sellers again. So I like John, I trust him, really enjoy shopping at his site. So I thought, yes, gotta add this to my basket before someone else snaps it up. And it is the self-titled album from Embrace. So this was their comeback album, released 8 years after their last one, and then they went on an extended hiatus. Take it out of this All Right. Actually, I don't really like it because it's quite cloudy, so I might chuck it out, to be honest. Put this protector here. It's a 2 LP set. It looks like it's gatefold. I need to be a little bit careful, as everything's separated out. I think this is on white vinyl, actually, even though it wasn't advertised as such. Actually, it's and you can't really see it. You won't be able to see it at all, I don't think, but it's actually a marbled white. It's really attractive, actually, but you can only really see it from kind of my side. It just looks more or less pure white, probably, on camera. Put it a bit close. Oh no, I think you can see some marble in there, actually. Yeah, put it really close. As I say, 2 LP set. The other disc will be the same kind of design. Let's give you a quick look at the other inner there. We won't spend too long on the discs themselves. So I want to start filling in my Embrace collection gaps. This one, as I say, it was proven a little bit tricky to find at quite the right price. But when I saw that Vinyl on the Net had it, it was a no-brainer, really. Not heard anything on it. I think it did pretty well in the chart. People were happy to see Embrace back. They were a pretty big band in the sort of post-Britpop era, along with the likes of Coldplay and Keane and all that lot, who I don't like, but I think Embrace are a real cut above, personally. Embrace by Embrace. But when I decided that I was filling some Embrace holes, I went along to Townsend Music, who host the official Embrace store. I picked up 2 more albums. The first one was £40, which sounds like a lot, but it is a 3 LP set. I was a bit undecided on this because it was really the studio albums that I wanted and nothing else really. But I thought, you know what, in for a penny, in for a pound, I'll get this. and it is Best of Live from the Cellar of Dreams. So I was unsure quite exactly what this was. I mean, I knew it was a live album, but turns out after doing a bit more research, they did like a little studio gig in 2021 that was live streamed somewhere, and there's no audience or anything. I mean, it was probably during one of the lockdowns, I would have thought. It's like a live album, but it sounds like a studio album. I suppose, what's your nearest equivalent? Let It Be, maybe? Sort of. But it's got some stuff on here that I love, such as Nature's Law. It says the Best of Live. There's some notable omissions to me, as far as I'm concerned. I can't see Come Back to What You Know, for starters. Whether they actually performed that in the concert and they just didn't include it on the album, I'm not sure. There is, 24 tracks on it, so I'm assuming this would be more or less the full gig. I'm not going to get this open, actually, because it might be a bit of a faff early, but I think it's on blue, white and transparent vinyl. You know what all that looks like, and I will be showing you some more coloured vinyl later on anyway. So to keep this video moving along, I won't spend too much longer on this one. Nice kind of thick sleeve here with the sort of bigger spine. Expensive, but Townsend seemed to be the only place selling it, to be honest. I looked on Discogs and there was some people on the aftermarket just charging silly money for this. Whereas I thought, well, Townsend and the official Embrace store, £40. It's not going to get any cheaper than that, really, for a brand new copy, certainly. So there we go, from the Cellar of Dreams by Embrace. However, that wasn't the only thing I purchased from Townsend, and it wasn't the only Embrace album. Here's the format that you've not seen on this channel for a while, and I decided to get their most recent album, How to Be a Person Like Other People, on cassette. The reason I bought this on cassette, I nearly went with the vinyl. It was just black vinyl that they had left at Townsend, probably around £20. But this, and it was advertised as signed, and as you can see, it has been signed by all 5 band members, was just £5. And I've not bought a cassette in ages. Certain artists who I collect predominantly on vinyl, I will kind of switch up to cassette just as a kind of one-off. The one I'm thinking of in particular is Matt Berry. His last album, I bought that on cassette instead of vinyl. And there's also a few Erasure albums I've got on cassette as well. So yeah, it's the album that I wanted. £5, and it's signed as well, which wasn't essential. That's not the reason why I definitely plumped for the cassette. It was mainly the fact that this was just a £5, and I was already spending £40 on the live album, so this kind of, made up for that being a bit of an extravagance. So there again, not heard anything on here. It's their most recent album from, a couple of years or so back. Looking forward to it. How to Be a Person Like Other People. I don't like the album title. I don't think that's a very good title myself. Looking forward to that one from Embrace. There is still other Embrace albums that I want to finish off the collection. There's 2 I can think of that I know are easy to get, and chances are I will have aimed to have bought those, and I'll show you those in the next records roundup. And then there's one more that actually celebrates its 20th anniversary this year. I think it's Out of Nothing, and they are touring it as like an anniversary tour type of thing. So presumably they're gonna re-release that album at some point this year. They may have announced the reissue officially by the time you're watching this, maybe. Interestingly, iMusic in Denmark do have it up for pre-order. So maybe they've got a bit of a jump ahead of everyone else, and they know something that the other companies don't. that it's definitely going to get a reissue, because that is something, although it's come out on vinyl in the past and it's had limited reissues, all of them are quite expensive on the second-hand market. So we'll see. I'll endeavour to get that in some form or fashion eventually. Right then, moving on to a couple of Discogs Marketplace pickups, and here's another 7-inch single from Kula Shaker. This one is Second Sight, and rather nicely, and I don't think this was advertised as such on Discogs either, it's another signed release here. So this was a single from Kula Shaker's album Strange Folk, which is also the name of their record label. That's an album I don't own yet, because the vinyl editions are just stupid money. Like, if you go and look at the 2 vinyl editions, I think it's 2, or is it 3? 2, I think, on Discogs, like, people are asking absolutely outrageous amounts for them. So I'm hoping it's going to get a vinyl reissue at some point. But this is a single from there that was pretty cheap, can't remember exactly how much, but between 10 and 15 I think, including postage. Signed by the members of Kula Shaker, or at least the members at the time, because this single is fairly old now. I want to say 2007, and I don't need to say it because it's on screen. Side A, Second Sight. Side B, Out on the Highway acoustic version. I believe Out on the Highway is also a track from the Strange Folk album. Nice artwork, as there always is from a Kula Shaker release. I think I will endeavour to pick up all the early Kula Shaker singles, you know, the kind of Britpop peak years singles really on 7-inch at some point, you know, because I seem to be getting a Kula Shaker 7-inch every so often anyway. I'd like to kind of be a completist on them, but as I say, there is 2 albums, Strange Folk and Pilgrim's Progress, that either didn't come out on vinyl or just need a reissue, just to kind of stave off people scalping it on the aftermarket. But that is Second Sight.
Through the looking glass, here in another land. I'm a second sight, yeah, the other side of you. Lover, you've forgotten, coming back to you. There's nothing I won't do.
Also from Discogs is another addition to the Monty Python collection. Not a particularly essential one, but the final rip-off is a compilation. I nearly called it a greatest hits, if you can call a comedy album a greatest hits album. It is a 2 LP set. Quite a nice edition this, to say it's an original. It's in pretty good nick. Nice bit of bump there within the gatefold that I'll enjoy reading as I'm listening to it, no doubt. Have a quick look at one of the inners, if nothing else. Yeah, on the Virgin label. There is still Monty Python Live at City Centre that I'm missing, which is a proper Python Live album as opposed to a compilation. I do want to try and pick that up from somewhere at some point. And there's also Monty Python Sings, which had a 50th anniversary reissue back in 2019. That's the 50th anniversary of Python itself, by the way, not that album. So that's going to be very samey to this one. I'll endeavour to get the reissue, as I know where I can get it for a reasonable price. But I'm not in any rush for it, especially as I decided to pick this one up first. This was cheap. I think I bought it with something else, something New Order related. And I can't remember how much this was, but it's probably not much more than £10 for a double album. The final rip-off from Monty Python.
Cut down trees, I skip and jump, I like to press wildflowers. I put on women's clothing and hang around in bars.
Cuts down trees, he skips and jumps, he likes to press wildflowers. He puts on women's clothing and hangs around in bars. He's a lumberjack and he's all day, he sits all night and he works all day.
I cut down trees, I wear high heels, suspenders and a bra. I wish I'd been a girlie, just like my dear mama. cuts down trees, wears high heels, suspenders and a bra. Oh, shall be early, just like my dear mama.
Oh, Bevis! And I thought you were so rugged!
Onto a couple of 12-inch singles from Hard to Find Records in Birmingham. Great site, not used them too often, but I decided I'd make an order. There was something that was relating to New Order. I think it was the Certain Ratio single Shack Up, actually. And then I thought, well, I'm going to have a look, see what else they've got, bump this order up a little bit. And two of my all-time favourite dance tracks, both of which... no, one of which I definitely used to have on CD single, and the other one, I think a friend of mine had it, and I borrowed it off her for ages. But now I've got these both on 12-inch. First one is Heaven by U96, German kind of techno Eurodance group. Basically, it's kind of like a cover of Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper, but it's not got the same lyrics. But it's the exact same melody. Can't call it strictly a cover version, but it's very, very similar sounding, but that's fine, because that's one of my all-time favourite songs. And this is one of my all-time favourite dance tracks. It's got, I think, 5 mixers on it. I think the mixers that are towards the end of it on side B are the ones that I prefer. The mixers, I've heard them all over the years, but the mixers on side A I'm not quite so bothered about, but this was a reasonable price, I think. Looking at the old price sticker on there, $1.99, it was more than that, but it's nice nick, nothing really to see. But quick butchers at the vinyl itself. That's Heaven by U96. Then also from HTFR is a promo. Don't particularly collect promos. I've added one or two for numerous reasons. Like, for instance, for my New Order collection, there's been certain Monaco and other 2 promos that I've bought just because they weren't available as a proper single release. And then others have been for my Happy Hardcore and Dance collection, which this one kind of qualifies for, really. That I just picked up from Recycle Vinyl over the past couple of months because they were cheap. But this one is Interactive and Forever Young, a cover of Alphaville's Forever Young, albeit without all the verses. It just riffs on the chorus, really. But yeah, it's kind of Eurodance leaning into happy hardcore, which I know a lot of people aren't fond of. I am. It's an unashamed pleasure of mine. I'm not even guilty about it, just happy hardcore. It does what it says on the tin for me. I put it on and it makes me feel happy. It actually uplifts me, gives me some energy. Same with Eurodance, really. I know that's another kind of genre that gets sniffed at, and I understand. We don't all want to listen to prog rock and British heavy metal and psych and whatever else, you know, that the vinyl community absolutely pisses the pants over. You know, people like me, rightly or wrongly in your opinion, we like a lot of our cheese, and there's nothing quite as cheesy as Forever Young by Interactive. So this promo edition, side 1 is the Red Jerry mix, which is a great Eurodance type mix, and side 2, Cocktail Twins mix, which I'm not sure I've heard. I probably have years ago when I listened to my friend's CD single, and the original mix, which is a bit more sort of happy hardcore, but straddling between that and Eurodance. Interestingly, it's got a gold sticker for who it used to belong to, someone in Rythorpe, Sunderland, Berry Jasper. Weird. Shouldn't that be Jasper Berry? Maybe, I don't know. And his phone number as well. Shout out to Jasper or Berry if he's watching. I've got your old promo here. Yeah, love this so much. Interactive, forever young. One more album to go before we can do 2 male openings today. This album, I don't want to say it's impulsive because I've been kind of keeping half an eye out for it for a while. A compilation from a group who you've seen so much of me basically starting a collection of since late last year, early this year. This one wasn't particularly essential, but I always said if I saw it at a good price, I'd get it. From Asai Records, this is great record shop up in Glasgow, and they have other branches throughout Scotland. Do highly recommend them. Hadn't shopped there for a little while, but I had £10 of Asai credit to use, as they give you points every time you make a purchase. This album was listed there for $15.99, so £10 off. Used my points, made it only $5.99, brand new as well, and then bit of postage. Total was something like £10.98 or something like that. I'm talking about On Air by the Rolling Stones. So it's another in the kind of live at the BBC vein here. The Beatles live at the BBC, I've spoken about that not too long ago. I do like that album a lot, and I also got a very similar album relating to The Who not too long ago either, which was many of their BBC radio and TV sessions. This one is a double LP set. I think it only covers the period 63 to 65, so you'd have thought that there might be a second edition of this come out eventually, but who knows. I do like these BBC Sessions albums, and as I've been a Rolling Stones collector now all year and a bit, then I thought I would get this, paying just over a tenner for it, including postage, with a discount thanks to the points I've accrued. Can't be bad at all. The Stones, On Air / BBC Sessions.
Everything is wrong. Me and my baby party all day long. I'm walking good. I couldn't get my car started later from a job, and I can't afford to check it. I wish somebody come along and run it good and wreck it. Come on, since me and my baby party, come on. I can't get started. Come on. I can't afford to check it. I wish somebody come along and run it good and wreck it. Everything is wrong since I've been without you. Every night I lay awake thinking about you. Every time the phone rings, sounds like thunder. Some stupid guy trying to reach another number. Come on, since I've been without you. Come on, always thinking about you. Come on, phone sounds like thunder. Some stupid guy trying to reach another number.
Right then, couple of male openings here. 2 albums in here, the reissues. Didn't own them previously. They've come out today, as in the day of me recording this video. From Dig In Records. A great site, another one I've not used in a little while. This is another site where you can earn loyalty points. And I got a £5 off this pre-order, because these had been pre-ordered for a couple of months or more now. Which was basically meaning I got free postage. So if I'd kind of waited and bought more stuff from there, I might be able to get a better discount, like the Asai one was a tenner, but don't matter. £5 off is a £5 off after all. So I think the total price for these was £45, because I think they wound up at being £22.49 each or something like that. And get in. Yep, there we are. And they are 2 Lightning Seeds reissues. Here's the first one, Cloud Cuckoo Land, their debut album. This is an album, same with the other one that I'll show you, that I'd kind of been looking very occasionally at getting an original pressing of, because I didn't know if these were ever going to be reissued, and then suddenly I saw somewhere, probably was Dig In actually, that Lightning Seeds albums were getting reissued. I think they're doing it in waves. There's like this one and the other one that are out today, and I think there's a couple more that are coming out in a few weeks, although they'll probably already be out by the time you're watching this. Weirdly, Jollification, which I have on mini disc, doesn't seem to be getting a reissue though. I'm not sure why. All the other albums from the Lightning Seeds, or the obvious ones from the 1990s in other words, are getting reissued, but not that one. I'm not sure why. But anyway, that don't matter to me. I hadn't owned Cloud Cuckoo Land before. Let's get it open, as it is on transparent yellow vinyl. Also, they've been reissued on black vinyl for slightly cheaper, but I do like my colours, so I thought I'd pay the little bit extra. And as I say, I was getting a £5 discount using my points anyway for the coloured editions, but really I didn't actually mind what I got. Inner, and a fairly transparent yellow. Looks a bit dull on camera, as it often does, but very nice nonetheless. So that's Cloud Cuckoo Land, the debut album from Mr. Ian Brody and co.
There's colder nights harder, their moonlit delights, and I love you. Just lying smiling in the dark, shooting stars around your heart, dreams come bouncing in your head, pure and simple every time. Now you're crying in your sleep, I wish you'd never learn to weep. Don't sell the dreams you should be keeping, pure and simple every time. Look at me with starry eyes, push me up to starry skies. The stardust in my head, pure and simple every time. Fresh and deep as oceans new, shiver at the sight of you. I'll sing a soft tune, pure and simple over you.
And then, unsurprisingly, I've got sense. I've got the album Sense, I've got no sense, no common sense, certainly. The second album and the other one that I didn't own. The first two Lightning Seeds albums, by the way, never came out on mini disc. I'm a Lightning Seeds mini disc collector predominantly. Jollification, upwards, Sense, with the title track, which a lot of people know, The Life of Riley, which of course was the theme for Match of the Day's Goal of the Month competition for a few years. This is on, doesn't actually say if this is a coloured edition. It should be. If they give me the wrong one, I'm not going to complain particularly, but the hype doesn't indicate that this is actually coloured vinyl like the Cloud Cuckoo Land hype did, so they might have packed the wrong one here. We'll see. But I'm expecting it should be blue, because that's what I bought, and it is. Oh, there we go. I needn't have worried. Not translucent, I would say that's a solid royal blue really. Yeah, great band, Lightning Seeds. There'll be some more Lightning Seeds related content, and given what I've already talked about, you can probably guess what that is really, to an extent. Coming in October here on the channel. I'm going to give this band a lot of love next month with a selection of videos, but look out for all that stuff starting in October. But that is Sense, along with Cloud Cuckoo Land, the first couple of Lightning Seeds reissues. And finally, one more mail opening to do, this one from Music on Vinyl. It was delivered via FedEx this morning, and this is an album that it's a compilation, but it's a reissue on vinyl. It came out originally on CD and digitally, presumably 2008. I was alerted to this, and I'm going to give him a shout out because basically he asked me to, but Craig Bell, long-time subscriber to the channel, he sent me links to this initially, that it was coming out at Music on Vinyl. Came out in a couple of different colour variants, and I missed out on both of those. Can't remember exactly what they were. One of them was a Music on Vinyl shop exclusive, might have been blue and white spatter. That went pretty quickly, as numbers are very limited. And then the other edition, both of these came out in July by the way, The other edition might have been yellow, I think. That ended up selling out as well, even though it wasn't as limited exclusive. But they decided to do another repressing. I think this one should be on blue. I actually managed to get this, and it is the Best of Sash. Look at the hype here. Yeah, limited edition on translucent blue coloured vinyl. This has been quite a popular reissue from MOV by the look of things, and they decided to do another pressing of it the following month after the first two came out. For all the people who missed out, who dithered too long, i.e. me. I didn't really care what colour, what sort I got, just glad that I was able to get it. I'm not going to get this open now. I've shown a lot of coloured vinyl already in this video, and translucent blue, you kind of get the idea with it, I'm sure. But it's a 2 LP set, all of Sash's biggest hits from his peak years of the late 90s into the 2000s. There's some mixes on here. I'm not sure there is, actually. I thought there'd be some remixes on it, but no, it seems to be all kind of singles and maybe a few album tracks, deep cuts, if you will, from the German trance act, Sash. I always thought Sash was one person. There's like a front guy whose name is Sasha, but technically I think it's 3 guys who make up Sash, the actual act. So there we go, finish off with rather mainstream 90s trance really, but I always liked his singles, you know, some better than others, but there's some singles on here that I love. Probably owned 1 or 2 of them on CD back in the day. Some of the later stuff I don't think I've ever heard actually, so that's going to be interesting to dig into it. For instance, there's some tracks here that feature in the likes of Boy George, Sarah Brightman, I've never heard either of those. Shane Ward, who won the X Factor, didn't he? He was on Coronation Street. So yeah, it might not all be absolutely great, but certainly the first disc with all the well-known big stuff, the big singles, and I'm going to enjoy that. The Best of Sash.
We're feeling the change and we don't know why. Choose one direction, just one foot down. Don't say I'm thinking too much if you see what's behind. And these are mysterious signs. Mysterious signs. Don't trick up our mind. For this moment I feel like we live in mysterious signs. If you see what's behind, these are mysterious times.
And that's another Records Roundup done and dusted, complete with a cassette today from Embrace. Hope you enjoyed this. I want to say thank you for watching it, and I want to give special thanks as always to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now, sort all my vinyl out, make sure I don't lose this little cassette. I didn't comment on the fact that the case is a little bit cheapo, it's just a slip case, but that's all you need really. I don't think I showed you it here either. It's a nice bright blue. So there we go, going back to that right at the end of the video. God dear, I'm on my second cup of coffee right now, but my brain still hasn't quite got into gear yet. So I'm going to go and finish my coffee, sort all my records out, and I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for my next Records Roundup and music collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!